If you ever want to know the truth or the reality of something, follow the money. Just show me the books. Where's the money? Where's the money being made? What is the profit margin? And what is the goal in terms of getting money? And the easiest way to get money is to get it out of women or sell men hope strategies, manipulation tactics to extract resources from them, but it produces no outcome. Because you see, the truth is not very profitable. My channel, I build organically. I'm not a part of the manosphere. I'm not a part of the red pill. I'm not a part of the religious community. I run an independent male advisory channel. Really. I don't sell men that you can be sitting in some basement with Cheeto dust on your chest, not being squared away, not chasing excellence for your life, not for the women. You be squared away for your life, for you. I teach men, I talk to men about falling in love with their own company. I brought in Ayn Rand because I think men's biggest sin nowadays is the sin of altruism. I talk about nobody takes care of you like you. It's all about male self-preservation. This is not your granddaddy's world anymore. But I still watch shows. I'll come through a show or a platform, and I'll see men having conversations as if this is the 1950s, 1940s, not dealing with the realities of social media, the modern mindset, not dealing with the sin of delusion. See, the social media delusion and the calculations that comes from that, the infection from delusion. We have panda bears on social media all day long. We have jellyback simps in women's DMs begging them up. We have a society that is a complete gynocentric environment. And in the Black community, we have a matriarchal culture. And the church itself is just basically ground zero for the Christian feminists. And the rebranding and revirginating, the men have compromised their values. They're doing everything possible because they're matriarchal raised. They're matriarchal men that are led by women, men that are cucks, men that are soulless. If see, I used to be a married dude, and you hang around other married dudes. Sometimes you listen around, you're around in a circle, you're eating dinner. Sometimes you want to vomit to see how cucked some dudes are. But those same dudes make content. But they're advocating, I don't even think it's an advocation for women. I think they have what I call Derek Jackson envy. Derek Jackson is making an incredible amount of money pandering to women, selling women fantasies. But that's all women want to hear. I don't blame them. Salute to you, Derek Jackson. Congratulations. Keep making your money. Kevin tried to tell those women the truth, and look at them. They celebrated his death. Get paid. So they see the money that Derek Jackson is making. Or they see the money that certain guys that sell this ancient game dealing with these delusional. See, you assume that women operate in a space of reality in 2026 when they operate in a parallel dimension. And most of these women, salute to the good women out here, I always give credit to the 10% women. You're not talking to a person that operates in reality anymore. You're talking to a person, if you listen to the Kendra G show or you watch some of these shows, listen to the conversation, the inflated sense of self-value, the illusion of options, it's man versus a mental health crisis right now because men are forced to live in reality, delusions, visions of grandeur, and a promiscuous environment where most of the women already have men. They just don't have a long-term sponsor. And that's what some of these guys, I listened to the guys. I passed to the brother Justin James' channel last night. Salute to my brother Down, McFerguson, the rest of the guys. I have nothing against these brothers. Again, I really don't care. I'm not doxing anybody. But the motive, the financial motive, in terms of it's there with the church panders to women because it pays. The women pay. There is so much money to be made off of selling fantasies and hope to men that feel lonely or have not been able to achieve a certain success with women. And there's also a tremendous amount of money to be made from bullshitting and lying to women. Because To get outcomes, it requires hard work, discipline, dedication, commitment. You got to put your note. To get the outcome you want as a man, you got to bust your ass. And you got to build that self-esteem and confidence through going through shit. To get the outcome you want as a woman, you got to be disciplined, protect your virtues. Pick a man using patriarchal lenses. Maybe find a man in your family that is masculine. Pick a man before you get ran through. When you're in college, get yourself an education. Prepare yourself for a career, and get yourself a husband as a first. When you're there, you don't need to be best with the guys on the basketball, the guys chasing men or whatever. You want to get married young as a woman. That's a choice you have to make. But see, everybody has freedom of choices, and with choices comes consequences. You make a bad choice, you get this outcome. You make this choice, you get this outcome. The map has been set. And I think about my brother, Kevin Samuels. He came into these spaces and he tried to save families. He tried to, save the community and marriage or whatever. What happened? The women celebrated his death. They were indoctrinated and raised a certain way for a certain ideology. That's not going to be corrected with conversation and discussion. Now, if you know, what all these, the reason why you're having these women are talking to you now in the church talking now is because all their government programs are going, all the money is going, all the funding is drying up, AI and automation is taking jobs, and now they're having a conversation with men again because many of this stuff they see, this hardship. It's expensive to live out here in this world, but it's not out of no genuine desire to be under the leadership or be with men. No, it's just financial struggles and hardship. So they're being with men under duress. Really, they don't despise your guts. Because again, once you've been given power, and I think my brother, the coach of condition says it, power never surrenders without a struggle. But why would anybody want to be with somebody who's their competitor? Who wants to be a man in a house with somebody who's raised to compete with you? That person sooner or later is not going to want to listen to you. Man, kick rocks, you evil patriarchal monster, which is what feminism tells women. So really, they just want the money. And then any type of standard or requirement for men, they always switch. You always tell these panda bears and these guys that are, trying to create these new churches or create this new reality or trying to extract money from women or selling products to men that don't produce outcome, follow the money. What is it that they're trying to make? What is it that person's always trying to sell? What is it that they're always trying to... You go to these churches, it's the same thing. The pastor has to do the prosperity gospel. He has to skip over... If he's preaching about the 7 deadly sins, he has to skip over gluttony and all the other sins that the congregations are guilty of. Or you won't get any money. People will leave the church and they'll go down the street to Panda Bear Church. So it is no profit in telling the truth. That's why I don't even mess with the Derek Jacksons, the Yada, and the Matthew Hass, whatever the white guy is that panders to women. I understand. It's a business model. But follow the money. The money don't lie. I mean, you can cook the books all you want, but if you checking accounts and checking deposits and you checking receipts and you checking everything else, sooner or later, everything comes to fruition. But the problem with a lot of these guys in this space is, that's why I say, I'm not a part of any movement that doesn't require a background investigation, that doesn't require certifications and qualifications. So I'm not a part of, I'm not joining anybody's movement or anybody's plan. Who are you? And even most of these dudes are frauds. You follow them around. If you put a PI on most of these guys, you'll find them the most cucked, jellyback simps on the planet. If you put a PI on some of these dudes, you'll get them coming out of whorehouses, brothels, sleeping with the church congregation, living out mama's basements, first of the month. You'll find out they're full of shit. And as I navigate these content spaces, sometimes I even wonder why I even bother with YouTube sometimes, because I can see the grift, I can see the bullshit, and that's why I stay over here in my place. But sometimes I'll go certain places that I think there's credibility in certain content creators. I mean, there's certain people that I think are legitimate, and then there's some people, majority, that are full of shit. And that's why I stay over here. But the grift is real. And I think inevitably, because there's so many single women out here, and so many women out here that are unmarried and single moms or whatever, that is a huge, huge amount of profit that some content creators can't walk away from. Because really, it's hard to get men to give up money and support certain content and certain whatever. You know, there's good brothers that support this channel. Salute to you. Much appreciation, much respect. But it's easier to extract money from women because women are easier to manipulate. You just tell them what they want to hear, praise and worship them, and make everything men's fault, failings, and male responsibility. Just blame it on men. Blame it on men. You run out there, you get ran through. That's because these guys has no sexual discipline. And they weren't raised by fathers to know not to do that to a woman. Even the show last night, I came through and this dude was talking about penalizing men, for pounding out single moms. I say, what the hell? I like they ain't already getting pounded out by other men. You know what I'm saying? What the hell was going on? Still trying to hold the men accountable for it's almost like women have no agency. Like they have no brain, they have no agency, and there's no responsibility and accountability for individual actions and behavior. But that's the way these dudes operate. Because it's the money they want. It's the money. That's all it is. It's the money. I don't name them for making money. I ain't knocking them for making money. It's a money grab. And I find it very strange. And I feel sorry. The only reason why I'm addressing this is because I feel sorry for the young brothers out here. Because many times they will listen to certain situations. They'll listen to certain guys. And they'll make a decision that's horrible for their future. And the men that give them this advice, when that advice blows up in their face, they're not going to pay your bills. They're not going to get you out of that bad situation if you go mess with some single mom or marry one of these retired 304s. They're not going to pay your alimony or divorce thing. They're not going to get you off of child support for another man's kid. They're going to say, well, maybe you should have did this and did that. You won't find none of these guys. They'll be put them on the back of a missing person carton. But they'll give you advice about what you need to be doing in terms of being a jellyback cuck simp. A man should want his own family, his own platform, his own legacy, raising his own kids in his own house. When you work hard, you sacrifice, you discipline yourself, there's nothing wrong with having that. Now, if whatever reign, I'm not anti-pro anything. Like I told you, this channel is pro-peace, anti-torture. I have more of an objectivist mentality. That's why I recommend Ayn Rand to many of the brothers. She ain't perfect. She was an atheist. You can knock that part of it, but you can get good advice and information with people without 100% believing everything they say. But they want men taking bad deals because there's no accountability for a man taking bad deals because they think that you're disposable. They don't care about you and what you want and what your wishes are. And I say if women want to be with men, they have to be better people to get the men they want. They have to treat the men better, respect the men better, offer them more value outside of pre-owned. That's it. That's it. But that's not going to happen in the delusional world that we live in. So men are just going to enjoy their life. They're going to travel. They're going to date women when they want. They're going to enjoy relationships. If they find a 10% woman, they'll settle down with her. And they're going to live life on their own terms. But the mindset and the mentality that I see is becoming more of a money grab environment. And I think the men in general, if they're not smart, they're not sharp, they're not clever, you can be set up to be some sacrificial animal for somebody else's profit motive agenda without protecting yourself, protecting your resources, protecting your mental health, protecting your peace. You go in there on these hope strategies when you haven't seen nothing. Nothing has changed with modern women or the Western modern women in terms of the value they offer men in terms of relationship, marriage, long-term relationship, unless you're dealing with unicorns and you're dealing with the 10% women, especially now as they become more delusional with social media. You're dealing with a mental health crisis now. You're dealing with personality disorders. Many of them are some serious, chronic, serious issues with narcissism. That's, borderline personality disorders. Many issues you're dealing with as a man. You're dealing with a mental health crisis. And you have to be grounded. And you have to know how to take off running when you see it. You certainly don't want to be in a relationship with one of these social media addicted narcissists. And you're going to have problems. The problem is that nothing is going to reset until men just completely walk away and take away their attention, their resources, and all the things that they provide silently, and then let the market reset on its own. Really, that's really it. Because this conversations, it's a circular conversations to nowhere. Nothing's changed. Nothing gonna change last year, the year before, this year, year after next. Because at the end of the day, it is man versus crazy. Hey, remember, gentlemen, nobody takes care of you like you. Make sure you hit the like button on the channel. Talk to you guys soon. But man, the grifters are real out here in these streets.